Hello and welcome to Sharon Local History. Welcome to Sharon, Massachusetts. In this video, I will throw in disorganized pictures of Sharon. They were old postcards that were published in Sharon Advocate, and I will give you brief narration. So this is part 5. So many of you are familiar with this building right in the center of town. It is the First Parish Unitarian Church. Next to it on the right side, right in the middle of the picture, that's the standpipe. That was property of the old Sharon Hydraulic Company, and on the right side you can see a private home that's long gone. The hydraulic company was started pumping water from Beaverbrook in 1840. Many people were pessimistic that the guys wouldn't be able to do it, but they did, and Sharon had running water. The house on the right side was unfortunately demolished in mid-1930s and the standpipe about 10 years later. This is a photograph from July 4th in 1925 to 1926. It is right in the post office square. On the left side, the building is Petty's company, Petty's store, which is long gone. Unfortunately, it burned down in 1966. And on the right side, you can see South Main Street. The Petty's store is decorated with patriotic bunting just for the event, July 4th. And we believe that the fire truck is the Ladder 1 Stuart ladder truck. That was the first big truck Sharon Fire Department had. This building was called Lawncrest Inn, and unfortunately it is long gone. It was located on 20 Pleasant Street, and that was one of the reasons why the inn was so popular, because it was very close to train as well as center of town. The other name of the location you may hear is Petty's Hill. Basically, it was overlooking Petty's Hill. Unfortunately, the building is long gone. This property was another inn. It was called the Glendale. It was on the corner of North Main Street and Glendale Road. This photograph is from 1920, and this inn was very popular also because of its location, so it was very close to Post Office Square as well as train. Originally it was a farm. It was built in early 1800s, and unfortunately it was destroyed by a fire in 1930s. Eventually it was demolished and it is a private home now. This incredible property was called Massapoag Lake Hotel. It was overlooking Lake Massapoag. It is on the current road called Dubinsky. Pay attention to the guys on the porch roof and the gentleman on the left side leaning on the tree. It was one of the busiest hotels in Sharon, and also it welcomed Jewish residents, which was fantastic. It contained over 100 rooms with many modern conveniences. There were also livery stables, tennis court, croquet, billiard, pool, boating, bathing, bowling, hunting, and fishing. It was built sometime around 1880. Unfortunately, it burned down, but was replaced by another hotel. This property was originally owned by A. Park Boys and Company, and the current location is property of the community center of the town, and we have our community center there now. So this pond is located on East Street. Basically, when you drive on Billings towards east, it's right in front of you, little to the left. So the Sharon Fish and Game Club's trout pond, also referred to as the lower pond on East Street. If you look very closely, right in the middle, you can see people fishing. So this pond was designated for sports fishing. It means catch and release. The club opened in the early 1930s, so it'll be almost 100 years soon. So this incredible house is still standing. It is on Everett Road, where the former sanatorium used to be. It was constructed as part of the sanatorium. You can also hear the name The Sun, S-A-N. It was a hospital for both adults and children with tuberculosis or rheumatic fever. The stone building was constructed by a gentleman called Burpee Stevenson. He was a well-known stonemason who built several structures in Sharon. This building itself was actually made out of granite on purpose because it was X-ray department on the bottom and upstairs doctor's office. Eventually, this was part of the Kendall Whaling Museum, and now it's part of the trustees. I believe this building is being rented. So this property is still standing, but unfortunately not for too long. It was called Norview Farm. The farm was one of many farms here in Sharon. We had many farms from late 1800s to mid 1940s, 50s. It is located on the Edge Hill Road, which was called Viaduct back then. So it's right on the corner of Edge Hill and Dedham Street. This area was also known as North Sharon. The property was actually recently purchased, and I believe they are planning to put condominiums, unfortunately. So this body of water is called Sawmill Pond. I don't think many people are able to imagine this view or access it really, because it's the other side of we usually see. So imagine on the right side, that's where North Main Street is, and behind the building is Canton Street. So if you are on North Main, turning left on Canton, you will see condominiums, really well done condominiums on the pond. So they replace the building that you can see. This postcard is from 1923. The building itself was constructed in 1898. And the pond itself actually was an orchard. So to be able to create a grist mill, they dammed the pond and created grist mill. Eventually, Sharon Box Company took over and was a long-lasting business in Sharon. And as I mentioned, now we have lovely condominiums. So last but not least, I'm sharing a photograph of this incredible steam engine that was going through Sharon at the location of the Heights Railroad Station, which was on Garden Street. When you look at the map or when you're driving in Garden Street, you can see that it was divided by train tracks. This is an old locomotive that was coming from New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad, and it is shown passing through Sharon in 1946. By the way, Sharon Heights had 14 switches plus several miles of side track. Eventually, Garden Street was closed on both sides of the tracks, and the pedestrian underpass was created, but at this point it's long gone as well. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching Sharon Local History.